Hey, we're going to get us a reading for the sign of Pisces. As you know, I've already began my pre-shuffle before I press the record button. So I'm going to cut the deck. We're going to get into it with the main energy for the sign of Pisces. Bottom of the deck, we have celebrate. So it feels like you're being urged to celebrate your winnings, is what I'm hearing. No matter how big or small, your accomplishments. You know, you're beginning to face the world again is more so what I'm hearing. And it's more so make your contribution as to what it is that you have to offer, you know. And you're actually seeing a return for it. So congratulate yourself for that. You know, nobody else has to clap for you as long as you know what your end goal is and what you're focused on. You make sure that you always tap in to clap for yourself. All right, now. First card's out, you have anger management and keeping a promise. So somebody is pissed off about a promise or something like that. I'm really getting to feel like you may have had a conversation with someone and you said something, you know what I mean? I'm not exactly sure how this conversation went, but this is a person, it feels like, where on a regular you go back and forth with them. And this time you said, look, you know, this the last time. Like, I ain't doing this no more. We ain't doing this no more. I'm going to remove myself. However, I don't know. But somebody pissed off about a promise that you keeping. When you said what you said and you meant what you said. You have allow. So I'm feeling like, you know, in this situation, a person may have felt like you were going to change your mind more so because you allowed a situation to run its course. Again, it goes back to a person judging you off of their own standards, where they feel like if such and such had been done, then they would have walked away. And the mere fact that you did not separate yourself from a situation when certain things took place or when you had certain feelings and different things like that, this person thought that you were sleeping on your soul. They thought that you didn't mean what it was that you was talking about. But what the old folks always tell you, only you know when you tired. And you got to the point where you was tired of all that drama. It was a total drama. It's like all the stuff that was coming up, the shit seemed fake is what I'm hearing. Like a movie. You know what I mean? There's always some shit with you. And resolution on the bottom of the deck. What you say, we need to figure this shit out now. I ain't even all done flipped. This a trash, fulfilling a fantasy, recording, and believe. So somebody threw something. You need to, it was something with a recording, believing a recording about somebody throwing a fantasy in the trash, or somebody got rid of something. I don't know exactly what this had to do with what. It's making me feel like somebody disregarded something, but you still knew something. You know what I mean? When it comes to this belief, because you know that belief, I always say, is going to be surrounding you being able to walk with something that you do not see. You know what I mean? Or something that may not necessarily be material based, but you have caution that flipped over. And what was this? Presence in the reverse. So the caution goes up. You began to be more cautious with the way that you was tending to something. With this presence in the reverse, it's something about you not being able to live in the moment, or you you weren't necessarily present, you know what I mean? Because you were always prepping for what it was to come. You were kind of always ahead of things. Therefore, you needed to slow down for a second, you know, so that you can more so look around and see what was going on. I feel like that's what eventually happened for you. Check yourself on the bottom of the deck. I'm telling you, you had to tap in more so with yourself. Like, hold on now. This present's in the reverse. And even if that's the point that you at now, you know what I mean? You're so busy or always used to being the person that is needed, being the problem solver. You may need to slow down. You know what I mean? And pay attention to the things that's going on around you. Seems like a mess. Focus, bottom of the deck. Be a little bit more careful. What's this anger management? You have protect. So this may be a situation or a person that you need to protect yourself from. If this is your energy, then you need to know how to balance your emotions more. You know what I mean? Don't blow up. Stay in control of the situation. And if this is somebody else who you know flies off the handle, then you more so protect yourself against them. You have bravery. So again, stand up for yourself. That's the whole thing that this is surrounding. Maybe even you're dealing with a person who tries to use, you know, them flaring up and different things like that as intimidation tactics. You know what I mean? Or if this is a thing from the past, that was the type of person that you was dealing with. You know, they feel like if they get upset, they start yelling and cussing or something like that, then you're going to shut up or you're going to, you know what I mean? Like, just let them get away with whatever it is that they have going on. You got copycat, pregnancy test, in their feelings, kick to the curb, lighten up. So somebody got a copycat or somebody who was trying to be like you. You know, that copycat energy is a motherfucker that want to be like you. You know what I mean? They like the way that people view you. They like the energy that you give off. They like how you move. They like what you do. This basically is somebody that's paying too much motherfucking attention to you. And you had somebody that you was tied to that actually entertained this shit. And it seemed like they got this hoe pregnant or had this hoe thinking they was pregnant by them wanting something like that. And somebody was in their feelings because they did not use protection. Somebody ended up getting kicked to the curb. And with this lightening up, this lets me know that when this person got kicked to the curb, whoever it was, you know what I mean, that was in their feelings, they began to understand that life goes on. Layman's term, simple, put, life goes on. You know what I mean? Some things you're going to have to deal with. It ain't got nothing to do with you. People make decisions based off of how they feel. I always say one thing you're going to have to remind yourself when you're going through life is not to take nothing personal, because ain't none of this shit personal. You got to understand that everybody is existing in their own world while at the same time coexisting in a main world, which means that you're going to have your own shit that you have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, where if you don't do it, it won't get done. Not to mention, you have to maneuver amongst the masses of people because you still got to do shit like go to the grocery store, go to work. You got to pay your bills. You know what I mean? You have to live in a neighborhood if you don't stay in like a rural area or something like that. Like, you have to adapt, you know? So don't ever be so arrogant to get so caught up in the world revolving around you that you forget that other people got their own shit to deal with too. You know? And I feel like I ain't even really have to have that whole conversation dragged out like that for some of y'all, but somebody did definitely need to hear that, because like I said again, life goes on. People make decisions. They ain't got shit to do with you. This hoe was acting like you so tough. This person probably actually caught a glimpse of them, you know what I mean, out the corner of their eye. This bitch end up being trash. Or this dude end up being trash. Either way it go. You know what I mean? Now they pissed off though because they can't make the block. Shit, they shouldn't have never had their ass out there. Should no copycat ever been able to catch their attention. That's why you running away from this person now. You don't want nothing to do with them no more. You done turned your back on this situation. When you kicked that shit to the curb, that shit was to the curb, baby. The trash ran that exact same day. That shit in the landfill somewhere now. You ain't worried about it at all. And they trying not to be pissed off, not to, you know what I mean, explode. Look, love story. That's what you running away from. That shit say once upon a time in the bottom. I made a card that say once upon a time it was love. And now it's not. It's that simple. It ain't love no more. You don't want nothing to do with that. You done let this situation go. And I feel like in all actuality, you done lightened your load when you did again. That's not your fucking problem. Period. Keeping a promise. So somebody is investigating a betrayal about some bad choices that somebody made. And some about somebody doing drugs and somebody getting rid of the evidence. I don't know if somebody had a picture again back to that recording or something like that of what somebody had going on. Maybe you was dealing with somebody who had some type of addictions or something like that, and they told you, you know what I mean, that was a thing of the past, that ain't nothing that they do no more. When indeed the lie detector test determined that was a lie. That's something that they do all the time or something. Or maybe even you dealt with somebody that always liked to burn things. You know, like I like bonfires and stuff like that myself. I do paper burning rituals, you know what I mean, where I get out there with my notebook, write down the things I want to release and throw that shit in the fire. You know what I mean? Let it go up in smoke, let that shit go. So maybe some of y'all like that, or even you dealt with somebody again who liked, you know what I mean, to burn things. It's something with somebody burning some type of papers or something like that right here though. So somebody had some type of backstabbing activities going on when it came to the choices that they was making. Somebody could have even, you know what I mean, been a street pharmacist or something like that, you know, where that's where their hands was in, how they was, you know, jugging in the streets or something like that. And they was making bad choices or something like that, had some type of betrayals going on where they had some backstabbing energy, where they was trying to backdoor somebody or something like that, and they tried to get rid of the evidence. This could go all kind of ways. I'm gonna put these back in the deck though. They go all type of ways. Yeah, somebody has something going on. What's this keeping a promise? What's this keeping a promise? Promise about what? You got sex shop in the reverse. So it's making me feel like somebody got with somebody who knew they was a hoe. Somebody who knew they was a hoe, something like that. Somebody promised another person that they wasn't going to have their sex shop open. They wasn't going to be up to the same activities. It's really seeming like somebody is, I heard gay for pay, right? But it's like they're available. You know what I mean? For money. It's about the finances and different things like that when it comes to somebody. And you have sore. You know what I mean? Again, with the lie detector test determining it being a lie, the shop was not closed. Indeed, the shop was open. It was actually a thriving business. It was soaring. You know what I mean? And what was that? Have faith in the reverse. Somebody did not have faith in this situation. What is this? Damn, why they falling on the floor? You got receive in the reverse as well. So they didn't have faith that they would receive anything, which is still letting me know, like I said, that they dealing with somebody who they was already fully aware of the situation that they was getting into. And understand that this could even be you. You was dealing with somebody where you seen that their main focus was money. You seen that it was all type of odd jobs or different things like that that a person could pay them for. You know what it's something about the way that they maneuvered with money. You know, and my mama always said to me, like, you know, you got to know your limits because all money ain't your money. This the type of person where they felt like all money was indeed their money. You know what I mean? If it was placed in front of them, then they were supposed to get it or something like that. Hell, if they noticed it, they were supposed to try to get it. Like, money was their motive. So you definitely, you seen it. And somebody had themselves in a situation, instead of receiving, they was giving shit, especially when it came to this pregnancy. So I'm feeling like somebody may have even got pregnant by another person. They kept this baby on the low and they thought that they was going to be able to get some type of money from the other person, where indeed the other person was getting money from their ass. They felt like they had to take care of 2 babies instead of 1. And that's why they in their feelings, that they ain't used their protection. What else do I need to know? Expand in the reverse. Ain't shit growing. Ain't nothing changing. That's what they saying. Got somebody fighting for what they want. I think that's what this person expected, you to put up more of a fight than what you did, when indeed you just released the situation or something like that with this keeping a promise. You weren't playing with nobody. It's something about when you speak, you know, and it comes from a soul level. Like, you do not play about your intuition. You do not play about your spiritual guidance. You do not play about your faith. Your faith ain't never been in the reverse. Because you already knew how you was coming every time you was coming. It's really giving me 2 perceptions, like, of a situation, like, for real. It's kind of like a past and, you know what I mean, a future set. Like, in the past, you had some type of dealings with somebody, you know what I mean, where you got tired of that shit and now you move with some type of caution to this person. But then when it's explaining why they got all this anger management and why you need to, you know what I mean, allow things to run its course and be cautious with it, you understanding that you more so need to protect yourself against some shit because somebody got something going on. And you ain't on what they got going on. The baggage that they coming with don't match the baggage that you coming with. Shit, you coming with a little bit of attitude is what I'm hearing, a little bit of irritation, you know what I mean? Sometimes you don't always want to be bothered, like, you just need time to, you know, like, reassess, digest your energy, different things like that. But again, when you a healer and you taking on so many other people energy, you have to be able to discharge that shit. Like, so it's like what you're asking for understanding in, you know what I mean? It's different than what this person coming with. They coming with a whole lot of bullshit. And you got worth that came out. That's what I'm saying. You viewing the situation for its worth. You viewing it as a whole. You viewing it like, is this something that I really want to do? Is it really worth it? You already taking care of 2 mother. You know what I mean? It's again what this person brings to the table. Check in energy. You being able to check in and assess this situation the way that you assess it has a lot to do with you being able to slow down. You know what I mean? When you slow down, like I said, and tapped in and viewed this situation for exactly what it was and realized that it wasn't shit. It was not giving at all. Wasn't even giving love story. Hear me out. What it say? Check yourself. I'm telling you. These cards ain't playing. You reassess this whole situation. Is it some shit that you want to fight for? Is it even worth it? Maybe I need to let this shit go. I heard for some of y'all that baby still ain't came about. You don't even know where that baby at. You know what I mean? You don't know who that baby with. You ain't. This person still has not owned anything to have to do, especially not with nobody else having no baby. I promise you. They denying that baby. They denying that person. That copycat, all of that. That's why they so pissed off. They so pissed off because they duped themselves. They got with a motherfucker that was imitating the real thing instead of sticking with the real thing. All because you was healing, you was growing, you was going through the steps, the proper steps. You wasn't acting like shit that you was not. They got with somebody who was acting like they was ahead of the game and then got their ass in there and realized that that grass was not even real. This that hard plastic shit. You don't even want to step on it barefoot, baby. Ain't no grounding going in here. They super pissed off about that. And it once was love, and now it just ain't. What's this allow? What had to take place with this allowing things to take place? You got divorced. So the end of this contract, you separating yourself from this person. Understand that for some of y'all, this may be a physical divorce, and for others of y'all, this may be a divorce in the ethers. You may have had a spiritual contract with this person where when you did separate yourself from them, they did all type of weird shit. You know what I mean? Like it done took a long time for you to get this person out of your energy. And it's because the contract had to run, you know what I mean, full course. Everything had to go through the motions, you know what I mean, or the checkpoints more so before this contract could be broken. For a lot of y'all, y'all had somebody that tied themselves to y'all, you know what I mean? They made a contract with your ass, like for real. Made one, forced one. Had fake apology at the bottom of the deck. So definitely was trying to get you to change how you felt with the pause sideways. I'm telling you. Because you weren't pausing on shit. It seemed like you went full-fledged. I'm going to go ahead and flip it in the reverse. Because pause straight up and down mean, you know what I mean, delays and different things like that. It came out sideways. That mean equal. That shit wasn't equaling out to you. Like you ain't paused shit. You kept that promise to yourself. Is who I'm feeling like that promise was to. You kept that promise to yourself. You got bank failure. So this wasn't successful. You weren't able to get nothing out of this. I feel like you got your lessons. You know what I mean? But for what you invested, time-wise, emotion-wise, different things like that, you know what I mean? It's like you would have wanted more. You got to slow down. Promiscuous and grounding. So let's get this understood, right? I don't know if because you didn't get what you wanted out of this situation that you decided to move forward quickly. You know what I mean? I hear Summer Walker that just might song where she say, I just might be a hoe. Or she say, she just might be a hoe is my thing, right? But I'm going to do you one better. You was dealing with somebody where in the past, they already thought that you was a hoe. They already was accusing you of different things that you was not doing. And this is due to the past history of shit that they had going on from other people that they dealt with and the actions that they was taking behind your back, right? So you already expected to be a hoe. You were really wild the socks off them hoes. If you stay classy and stay in your position that you been in. If you ain't been no free for all, baby, don't become no free for all. Make sure you stay grounded in your energy. Understand that your sacral chakra, your sexual energy, that's where you create from and different things like that. If you ain't creating from it and you just giving that shit out, understand you boosting other people's energy up. Not to mention that when you have people that know, you know what I mean, different things on the spiritual level, this is how they can attach different energies and entities onto you and different things like that. Like, you have to be mindful of, you know what I mean, your sacred energy. So you damn sure don't jump off the bridge in places where you don't belong. Not to mention, you know what I mean, when you got purpose, Lord forbid you be an earth angel or something like that, because that karma gonna come back to your ass so much more quicker. As soon as you get out there and get to acting like a regular person, you gonna get your ass tossed straight up like a regular person. Understand that? You know what I mean? Like, so you make sure you obey the rules of your position. If you are who you say you are, you must act as such. Like, that shit ain't no game. You know what I mean? And again, with this bank failure, somebody's money has slowed down. Or maybe your money even slowed down when you was dealing with this person or something like that. This promiscuous energy is also this outside energy, though. It's the other energies that this person had attached to them. Maybe this person was a very sexual person or something like that. You have focus. So again, you know what I mean? Maybe even moving past this situation, you had to go through your different phases and you had to learn to ground and refocus your energy. Shift what you was paying attention to. In order to manifest, you holding on to your energy help you manifest. Maybe you have been practicing what they call it, that retention method, semen retention, or you know, if you're feminine energy, you might just be being celibate or different things like that. Either way it go, you know what I mean? It's something with another person slowing down on the energy that they were carrying at first. With this emotional intelligence in the reverse. At first you didn't know no better with the way that you was moving. And I heard somebody say, I'm back. Hey, you got your ass out there. Like, I don't know. But it's like it got old quick. You realize it wasn't nothing to invest in out here real quick. You know what I mean? It wasn't given. It wasn't no cycle. The abundance wasn't flowing. That shit was dead, like I said. And then you slow something down and begin to ground your energy, your own energy in to help you focus. Because that emotional intelligence shit it wasn't popping. You know, it's in the reverse. So that means that you didn't have that. But with the destroyed on the bottom, yeah, you let all that shit go. That not having it is what was destroyed. Because straight up at the top, you tired of the drama. And you don't want to hear it. You don't want to hear shit. It seemed like you got to the point where somebody's voice may have been irritating. You just always knew if they opened up their mouth and they was going to have some shit. You know what I mean? Like, just shut up. Like, just leave me alone. Just, you know what I mean? I don't even want to hear you breathe type shit. Like, you may have had times when you got a room or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, just to be off by yourself. I'm even getting one, too, where that may have been your last straw as well. You know what I mean? You don't want to hear nothing about no excuse about how nobody ended up in no motherfucking hotel room with nobody. How the fuck you gonna explain that? It's more so how you know what I mean? Like, what do you mean? Ain't nothing nobody could say to you about whatever it is that they have going on. You got a situation about to explode and surrender. Touching base again on letting that shit go. I heard somebody is gonna do something to somebody if they ain't let that shit go. This shit was driving somebody bunkers. And it's really about to hit the fan or something like that. They say give. I'm gonna say something gotta give, you know what I mean? Say reassess. So you definitely start reassessing what it was that you was giving to this person, the compassion, the understanding, the communication, everything, and what you were getting back. Shit. Is you getting what you're giving? Or are you always the one giving the understanding? You find yourself always being the one who have to be the bigger person and different things like that. I ain't saying, goddamn it, change into the small person. I'm saying speak your piece and go on about your business. Remove yourself from the situation altogether. That way you ain't even got to play with that shit. Because you got somebody, right, fulfilling a fantasy. It's a recording. Fake friends. That's that promiscuous energy too. One of y'all partners might have fucked around and had a baby with one of y'all fake ass friends, and that bitch had that baby around you or something like that, and you might not have known that that was the baby daddy because you know that this hoe is a hoe. This tied in some type of way to you. You know what I mean? Outside of having these strings, like all of this information, the way that this is tied into you, maybe you had a friend that was a hoe and you knew she was a hoe, but you knew you wasn't a hoe, you know, and this hoe done been a hoe since hoe school, you know what I mean? Type thing, meaning this bitch was a young hoe or something like that, so you ain't even worry about it, you know what I mean? You just accepted her to be who she was, but ultimately this bitch was jealous of you because you was classy. And she used to watch you or something like that and try to imitate you masculine, understand that this is still bitch activity. So even if you need to flip or switch these roles and this was a masculine that wanted to be like you, that could be his whole ass too. Understand that, right? So it's going to be what it be. But somebody has some type of recording or something. Like, I don't know what this is. But it's something with you reassessing the respect that you giving somebody in a situation or that you was giving somebody in a situation. It's really giving me like it had traveled its full course. Look, break free. I'm total. I said I'm total. I'm telling you, you broke free from this total drama. Like that shit. This person, I'm hearing Truman Show. You remember on the Truman Show, right? It's like he didn't even know that he was being recorded. I swear I just watched that the other day. Like, Jim Carrey. He basically had gotten adopted as an infant. You know what I mean? Like, he was an orphan. He had gotten adopted by a TV network, and they recorded him from the point of him being a baby all the way through his life as an adult. He had got married and everything, you know what I mean, was working, all this shit, and they had cameras all over the town. Like, it's like they had him secluded too, like it seemed like a little island, you know what I mean, and he didn't even know. Like, he thought that this is just where he lived at. These are the people that he grew up with, he met amongst life, he went, you know what I mean, different things like that. And it's like the whole time all they ass was actors, they was part of the cast. The regular world was watching them as a TV show, and it's like he just going on about, you know what I mean, his little married little life. Until it was like a satellite. I ain't even got to go that far into it with you, but it's like some shit like that. Like this person had you involved in some bullshit and you ain't even know you was involved. You just was living. You was going on about your regular life. You got your ass up out that TV show. Because the motherfucker wasn't paying you. You was reassessing what was being given to you. That shit wasn't paying you none for either one of them to be sitting and playing in your face. It's some hope, man, I'm telling you. Destroyed. They destroyed everything. Destroyed the way you viewed them. Destroyed the way you show up for them. Destroyed the way you care about them. They destroyed all. You ain't fucking with nobody. And with that putting on the show energy, I'm pretty sure they saying they don't know why you don't fuck with them. They don't know why, you know what I mean, this happened, that happened, all of a sudden you just felt like this, you just did this. They telling people you was this promiscuous person, I'm telling you. They're telling people you was the copycat. For some of y'all, they may have even told somebody that you got pregnant by somebody else. Something like, and then I keep telling you with this fake friend shit. I hear that it was fake friends on both ends, right? You was the only, you was like, it seemed like you was the only solid one in a situation. It was bullshit going on both sides, and it was crossing in between too. But you was unaware because you don't do bullshit. You know what I mean? And as soon as you realized it was bullshit or you was tired of the bullshit, you separated yourself from it. Look, you got a line. You broke your free from this bull. You went aligning yourself with this. What is this, Jack? You know what I mean? You wasn't playing. Getting played. So this person aligned themselves with somebody and ultimately ended up getting played. They got manipulated. Somebody was operating a certain type of way only to control, you know what I mean, a situation. And you got depression. Motherfucker hurt behind that. They super depressed. They super in their mind. I hear Brandy sitting up in my room. They hurt. Don't even want to open up the curtains. I promise you, I feel sick to my stomach. They hurt. They hurt off the decisions that they made. So that ain't got nothing to do with you. It is what it is. I heard Plies. He said, whatever decision you make, just make sure you can live with it. He said, whatever the answer is, I got to deal with it. Whatever decision you make, just make sure you can live with it type shit. Yeah. That's how you felt. You felt like you wasn't going to take nobody's ability to respond. Is more so what I'm hearing away from them, and you wasn't going to allow a motherfucker to take yours away from you neither. You going to respond however it is that you choose to respond by whatever fuck shit it is that they decide to do. We going to run our fade how we choose to run our fade. And again, with that allow, you allowed things to take place. You ain't try to control nothing. You ain't look into nothing. You didn't go snooping for nothing. You just waited. You just waited. And all the betrayal, the backstabbing, the deceit, and all that shit came to you. All the bad choices that this person made, and understand that why they sitting in this depression, because their depression was the last card. This shit eating they ass up, eating them up. It's part of their karma. All the things that they did is playing over and over and over in this person's mind. All the deceit, all the backstabbing. It was a lot of backstabbing. A whole lot of deceit. This person did so much to you that they could not trust you because they knew that you could not trust them. They felt like you was a goddamn fool for trusting them. That's why they treated you the way that they treated you, amongst other things. But understand, it was hard for them to receive that love because it was no way possible that you were able to love them and they was doing the things that they were doing. And you was intuitive as you were, and you were sticking with them. I keep saying that these people don't understand. For a lot of y'all come into their life as their last judgment call, their last chance to get it right. They last chance to be human. If they mistreat you, they get karma. I tell you exactly what I heard. God getting their ass. It's like being blessed with an angel. Being blessed with an angel. You take that motherfucker, put a chain around his neck, goddamn it, you want to walk it down the street, show people it can fly, show people it can make, you know what I mean? Completely mistreat. I keep on. I'm telling you, this shit is weird though, because when I hear spirit, what they refer to you as is like an exotic creature. I don't know what the fuck you are. But it's like mistreat this exotic creature like it already, you're not supposed to have this motherfucker as it is. You're supposed to cherish this. You're supposed to take care of this. You're supposed to treat this better than what you would even treat some shit that belong to you. And they didn't get that. They missed that. I hear they lost some rank. They lost some type of rank. And it's something about you passing another person up or something like that with your gifts. You was dealing with somebody who was very arrogant. Like they thought that they just ranked higher than what they was. They was living in an illusion, living in a lie. I feel like they dealt with people that they thought was beneath them, so that way it will boost their confidence, different things like that. I hear somebody dealing with people with different defects or something like that. It's something with the confidence. They want to deal with a person where their confidence is already fucked up, so then they can control them. It's like come in, break it down, build it up. You know what I mean? And then you do what I say type thing because you feel like if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have that type shit. It's like complete manipulation. Either way it go, it don't matter how they pulled it, the way they pulled it. Let's get it understood that they is depressed now. They depressed by all these bad decisions that they made. I always say, you know, they feel a certain type of way because they knew if they couldn't call nobody, they could call you. They could call you before they call goddamn Ghostbusters to get some shit about their house, and they ain't even got access to you no more. And with this new beginning, they already know they expecting to get their ass tossed up. I keep on getting it. Somebody pregnant. It's a pregnant lady up here. It's time. It is what it is. Maybe somebody finna have a baby now or something like that. Somebody close around their due date. Or again, even with these contracts closing and you separating yourself, you know, we getting close to the end of the year too. It's just it's time for everything to be new. It's time for you to move forward without even a thought of this person. It's like you already done separated yourself and done released this person like piece by piece by piece by piece. It's like you're slowly but surely getting your own life back. Where you knowing what you like, what you want to do. You know what I mean? Not always having to consider another person that's going to be picky just to be picky. Like, ain't nobody got time for that shit. So it's time for you to move forward and see your new beginning. And it's time for them to keep their ass where they at. And they insecure to the motherfucker. Look at them peeking. They peeking. They peeking through the gate. They want to jump the fence so motherfucking bad. I promise you, they want to come from where they at. They don't want to live in karmic land. They don't like karmic world. Oh my God. People act just like they ratchet, raunchy, nasty is in karmic land. You got patience. So move with caution. Be cautious. Move with caution and be patient with yourself. Understand that if you're laying the foundation for something, you want it to be sturdy. So you don't want to rush. You don't want to just slap things together all messy. You know what I mean? You don't want to not have a plan or anything like that. So things are moving at the rate that they're moving. So you're able to, again, be able to be focused and manifest what it is that you truly desire. Because remember how in the beginning of the read, I said that you were always ahead of things. And by you being ahead of things, you were missing what was going on in the moment, especially with this other person, these friends, and all the rest of this bullshit that you was tied to. You was overlooking it because you were always where you needed to be. So again, that's that tie, them strings, some shit that was holding you back. You know what I mean? When you was able to reassess it and you actually let that baggage go, you straight. You left everybody with, you know what I mean, they own shit to figure out. So you be patient with yourself while you're figuring out what you want. You have already know the tea. So you already know what the fuck going on in this situation. You know what's going on with these people. Again, with your intuitive ass, you already know. You know who is who, what is what, where is where. You know why. That's what's throwing people. The fact that you know why shit took place. You know about them inner feelings that they had. You know about that inner hate type shit that they had. You know about that jealousy. You know about that envy. You know about that evil eye shit. You know about the fake congratulations. You know these, the inners. You know these people on a soul level, right? So you ain't worried about none of that shit. What? Healing. You tell them bitches to heal. Offer them some Reiki sessions or however it is that they want to go heal. I do Reiki. You can send them home for me. I send some healing energy to them if they want to. You got to pay attention in the reverse so these motherfuckers don't hear you, though. They ain't paying no attention. For a lot of y'all, remember how I said you be ahead? You been done said some shit and it don't take place until a year or 2 years after. You been done said some shit and then it take place once a motherfucker done forgot it. And they be surprised about it and you done warned they ass. You know what I mean? With the forecast for the whole guy. Like you already did it. You too far ahead of these people. Look, that step back fell on that check yourself. So understand too that everybody don't deserve your healing. Everybody don't need your healing. You ain't got to heal everybody. Also get it understood that some people choosing not to heal. They choosing not to pay attention. They choosing not to pay attention. It's not that they don't understand or that they don't see. They're choosing not to. So let them have that too. You got trash and create. Hey, right. So some people cool with creating trash. I feel like you cool with it too. The only thing is, like I said, you ain't no motherfucking hoarder. You ain't putting it in a trash bag, tying the bag closed, putting the bag in the closet. Nah, you taking that shit outside. You putting that shit in the trash and then you double bagging it and taking it to the real trash and letting the trash people come get that shit. I said that before. It's in the landmine. Not to mention, you done got rid of a certain type of way of thinking. That shit is in the trash too. You keep on doubling up on these people. I kid you not, that copycat can't even keep up with your energy because you always coming with new shit every day. You not the same person every day. You always looking to grow. You always looking to understand. Not to mention, you ain't got no issue with communicating. You got a nice soul, a nice heart, a nice being. You got all your motherfucking teeth. You be smiling. Motherfuckers like that. You a good soul. They interact with people like you. Instead of this motherfucker always coming in with this attitude. Or this other motherfucker thinking that they gonna be able to lead with their money and people supposed to give them a certain type of respect because of what they got. Not understanding that it's people out here that'll take your shit. Ain't nobody, you know what I mean? You ain't impressing nobody. If anything, you was making yourself a target, baby boy. You need to calm that shit down, you know? Like it ain't that serious. Only a hoe, what I tell you, gonna be excited about that. Ain't no real woman. We ain't even gotta go through all that. That shit just dead. It's done. You know what I mean? And somebody ain't got no way to create no obstacles for you. You got envy. Tantric sex. So somebody even salty about your poodle meringue pie. They salty about your they salty about you. I keep on saying that as a unit. It's a weird ass person. Stop talking to people about your sex life. Stop talking to people about your partner. Stop doing all that. You got somebody investigating, somebody doing drugs to say I hate nothing about you. Or somebody doing drugs and investigating you. And they coming to the realization that they hate nothing about you. I ain't even gonna say the realization because they ain't never hate nothing about you. They hated everything about their motherfucking self because of what they was hiding from you. I'ma always remind you of that. That shit ain't had nothing to do with you. It was by a miracle, goddammit, that you was saved from this motherfucker because they was meant to take you down to the underworld. Look, oh, but God. What they say, that healing came out. This person gonna have to do healing like you had to heal. It's time for it. They need to lighten up and focus more so on the worth of things that it is that they is dealing with. They need to do all the things that you did. But see, this person viewed all of the many steps that you had to take in order to get to where you were, and they did not see the value in them. They thought that you were foolish. I keep saying that you were foolish. It's not until they get to the point of now, or even, you know what I mean, maybe even in the distant future, that they realize that they fucked up. I'm telling you. And it's like they need help, but they don't want to take all the steps that they have to take. Because for you, you have to constantly release things. It's like every time you got your hands on something and you got comfortable and it was yours, you had to let it go. You had to get comfortable with receiving and letting it go. Receiving and letting it go type thing. This person can't do that because they feel like their possessions is what defines them. They don't want to look like they in lack. They don't want to seem like they in lack. You know what I mean? But yet they want to tell a motherfucker that they came from the trenches. But they ain't trying to show a motherfucker that they know how to survive in the trenches. For a lot of y'all, you ain't even come from the motherfucking trenches. You going through this experience that you went through is your first motherfucking time being, and you already got rank. Your shit is respectable. You a decent human. They can't fuck with that. Like you ain't had to connive. I keep on saying that on no end of the spectrum. That's what they hate, because they stuck with a motherfucker who try to act like you instead of being able to be you. That's their fault. Now they want to do drugs instead of doing the healing. Ain't that a bitch? But that was your read, Pisces. I'm done.